The last chapter we read explored different ways that people change the earth. We talked about air pollution, water pollution, littering, and how these things can cause our planet's temperature to rise. Today, we're going to talk about different ways that we can help the environment by recycling, reducing, and reusing. So Chapter 4, Recycle, Reduce, Reuse. Remember, we're with Mrs. Moore's class while they're on their field trip to the state park. Mrs. Moore's class finishes walking the trail. They eat lunch in the picnic area of the park. The class is cleaning up their lunches. Mark walks over to throw away his trash. Mrs. Moore, why is there another bin next to the trash can? Asks Mark. Mrs. Moore says, you put your trash in the trash can. You put your plastic water bottle in the recycling bin. Recycling changes something so it can be used again. Your water bottle can be recycled. It can be turned into a new one or something else. What can we recycle? Asks Mark. We can recycle many things, says Mrs. Moore. People recycle paper, plastic, glass, and aluminum cans. Recycling saves energy to make new things. It saves materials such as trees. There is less litter in the environment if we recycle. We can recycle other things such as food. Vegetables, fruit, eggshells, and other forms of food are recycled in a compost bin. The food will break down while in the bin. The food will begin to turn into new soil. The soil is used to grow new plants and trees, says Mrs. Moore. Reduce means to have less of something. People can reduce their waste or what is thrown away. They can buy things with less packaging. People can buy recycled products like paper and even shoes. People can buy items they can use again, such as metal straws, says Mrs. Moore. A third way to help the earth is by reusing things. Reuse means to use something again. People can reuse old cans and bottles to make art. People can reuse water bottles and grocery bags. Reusing things can save materials that are used to make new ones, says Mrs. Moore. We also reuse things by giving them to other people in the community. Other people can use clothes, toys, and books we don't need, says Mark. What a great idea, says Mrs. Moore. Someone else can read your old book. Then more paper isn't used to make a new book. People recycle, reduce, and reuse to help the earth. This helps create less trash and pollution in the environment. Let's look at our lunches again and see what we can recycle, says Mrs. Moore. The class sorts their trash and recycling. So here are a few questions you guys can consider after reading Chapter 4. What does Mark see when he's cleaning up his lunch? What happens when something is recycled? What do people recycle? How does recycling help the environment? What happens when something is composted? What does reduce mean? How can you reduce waste at home or at school? does reuse mean? What can you reuse at home or at school? Name something people can reuse. Describe how people help the earth by recycling, reducing, and reusing.